Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Watch Soup. I am your co-host, Bobby Legs, joined by my other co-host here, Clayton from the Watchdog podcast. Clayton, what say you? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Can't wait to hear all about your weekend in New York City and everybody who went, how wind up was, and yeah, the whole weekend. Watch
Oh,
time.
yeah, a
Oh, there we
lot
go.
of lot of fun. Hey, just to, not to poo-poo on this review of Watch Time and Wind Up Parade that we're having here or party, but tomorrow I will be streaming with Dib and Mr. Finney, and they're gonna tell us what their thoughts on this
Awesome.
past weekend. And they have their
Awesome.
top 10 watches that they took pictures of. And we're gonna go through that. So we're gonna go in depth. But hey, look, I had a good time. I wasn't there as long as I would have liked to have been. My son wasn't really feeling it, and so we left. But we spent about an hour at watch time, and then about an hour and a half at Wind Up. Got to see my buddy Sam from Casual Watch Reviews. Um, you know what's funny, and I'll probably talk about a little bit about more tomorrow. So Jody from Just One More Watch was there when he was there with his brand. Much taller in person. It's so funny. Like he
Is he
was like
really? Oh
taller.
yeah, you
He's like
never
he's like
know.
six.
Yeah.
He's like 6'1". You know what I
Wow.
mean? Like when I
I
when, I,
expect
when
him
you
to be
see
short and skinny.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought he was
Isn't
like
that
maybe like
funny?
5'4",
Yeah.
5'5". He's a tall dude. You know what I
Is
mean? So
Mark from Long Island Watch short? He seems short too. Is
no,
he short?
he's probably like so I'm 5'10". I would say he's just about my height.
Okay.
Maybe smaller, maybe even smaller. I don't know. Yeah. No, but
Yeah.
he's not like way shorter than me. He's not
Yeah.
as short as I thought Jody would be.
Yeah. That's
You know what I
funny.
mean?
I was. If you would have asked me, I'd say 5'7".
Yeah. Yeah, if that, right?
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, so weird when you see these people in person, right? You know how
Yeah.
like you have a totally different perception. I get, what I get all the time when people see me in person, that they're surprised. I guess the camera adds 10 pounds to me, like easily.
Yeah.
So like they're surprised when I'm like, I thought you were a bit like, fatter. I've gotten that. It's like, oh, you're skinnier than I thought you
I know I
would
have
be.
a big face, but I weigh like 152 pounds. I'm like 5'8". Like I'm pretty thin, but yeah,
Yeah.
my face is like I watched some of these videos, like, oh God, my face, like yeah, I've always kind of had like a baby fat face, but yeah, I'm a pretty thin person. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think people get surprised at that too.
I got a big face, a big head. My wife's got a big face, like, and my poor son, he's like a lollipop. He's got a big head. But
No
yeah,
chiseled cheekbones here.
no, no, not at all, not at all. Hey, so what do you have on wrist this evening?
Oh, Lions watch. Boring. Yep.
Nice, man.
They
You
won
know,
this, dominated the Bucks. So
oh
yeah.
man, like I'm happy for you, but it just reminds me how like the season's not really turning too
Oh, I
well.
can't believe I thought they were gonna be a juggernaut this year, the
Yeah,
Commanders.
it's just
Disappointing.
all their receivers are hurt, and their defense is not that good. Hey, listen, I got my Panerai
Nice.
Luminor. It kind of has this like burlap type, not burlap, but I mean like this like cloth, like heavy cloth
Yeah, that's a cool
green
look.
strap from Bosphorus, and I was wearing, I matched today, so that's what I was wearing that for, so great watch anyway. Hey, let's say hello to some people, and then we'll jump right into the chat. Archie sending some people from, hey Archie, appreciate it, man. Thank you
Nice.
so much. You've done this before in the past, and really, really appreciate your support. You support the little channels, which is great. Hey, Marceau's here. Met Marceau
Yes.
at Watch Time. Um, didn't get a chance to hang out too much. Again, a little crazy at Watch Time. You're checking out watches, and again, like I didn't stay as long as I wanted to. Marcel, I wanted to spend more time with you. Sorry, bud. But I'm sure you had a good time. Joey B, what is up? He was there. Oh boy, the riff raff are being said. Stop it, Deb, would you? Hey, Patel Philippe, what's going on, man? How you doing? You're welcome. You're welcome here. Don't worry. Caliber is here. How you doing, Caliber? Wayben also there. Got to see him for a split second.
Cool.
JD is here. Oh, Bear Clooney, thank you, man. $5.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
yeah, there we go.
You show that lines watch it full screen. Oh, absolutely. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I don't want to blow this. There it is.
The logo is being hidden by the our hand right now, but yeah, it's
Oh yeah, I see it. I
yeah,
see it.
I mean, I could, it's reverse too. I mean, I can, pull out the crown and change the time. Well, we don't have to do that, but yeah, that's it. It's, the logo's there at the sub dial, yeah.
I got to tell you, like after that, like that first game against the Packers, right? That the Lions played. Like I think they got
Mhm.
like their butt handed to them. Like I was like, oh boy. Like I know they lost their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah,
They both
both,
got
yeah,
head coaching.
and, like, 8 other position coaches went
Yeah,
with those guys too.
yeah,
Yep.
and I was like, you know what I mean? Like this is gonna be like a jinx. This year is maybe not gonna be as good as last year. Hey, they look great. They still look great,
Yeah.
man. You
They
know?
still have the talent, and I think
Yeah,
ultimately players it sounds dumb, but players win games. So
yeah,
they still have
that's
so
true.
much talent.
Yeah,
I knew they were better than I knew they were better than that Green Bay game, but I think there was like the Micah Parsons sugar high
yeah,
for Green Bay, deservedly so. But they've come back down to earth a little bit, and the Lions have gotten better. So I think things have kind of normalized. But yeah, I feel bad for the Jets fans in the room. Ooh,
yeah, yeah. Uh,
yeah.
uh, Bear again. Thanks for the super chat. Really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Bear. Thank you.
Hey, go Blue Jays. Okay, rooting for the Blue Jays. I am rooting for the Blue Jays.
Oh,
I'm
me
an
too.
American League guy at heart. So I will be rooting for the Blue Jays as well.
And what the
Again,
Dodgers have like $1 billion payroll. I mean,
yeah, yeah, but listen. I mean, like, I misunderstood that contract with Otani. That $700 million contract. I didn't realize that they were paying him $2 million a year for like
yeah,
however
yeah,
long time and then backloading it.
it's
So they're
backloaded.
able to
Yeah,
sign because my concern was like, how are you going to sign that guy and then sign the talent around him? Well,
right.
that's how they did it. So
Yeah.
now I get it. So now I don't think it's that bad an idea. And there's like reports coming out that the Dodgers have already made their money on that Otani
Oh
deal.
yeah, I'm sure.
So look, I never begrudge anybody trying to make as much as they can. You
And
know
that
what I mean?
performance the other night was like one
Oh,
of the single most impressive
yeah,
performances.
yeah. Did you freeze or did I freeze there? I don't know. I don't know if I'm frozen or if were you frozen or me?
We
I
both
think
you were, and then we both went away, but we're back.
okay. Sorry guys. Yeah, great performance. Great performance.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like a lot of Blue Jays, Bears, a Blue Jays fan. Yeah, Dodgers. Well, okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, they
Like,
just Brewers were the best team, and they just plowed through them 4
yeah,
games. Well, they only lost 1 game in 3 playoff series, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Phillies got
Hey,
1 from them.
EP RFA's here, and oh, Clayton froze.
Oh,
Okay.
I froze.
Usually I'm the culprit.
You froze for me, but maybe it's because I was frozen.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's get right into the soup this evening. You're going to be coming up first there, Clayton.
Alright.
Your pick this week, Harrison Elmore. YouTube convinced me to buy these 6 watches. Tell us about this one, Clayton.
Yeah, I think we've all been influenced by, influential people like yourself, watch Bobby's videos and have to buy whatever watches he covers, right?
Right.
We've all been there. So I figured we'd go through it. I'll go through each of his categories and we'll discuss it category by category because otherwise I'm going to be talking for like 10
Yeah.
minutes straight. Nobody wants that. So, yeah, I like this guy. YouTube is the best and worst thing that ever happened to watch collectors, he says. On one hand, it's an endless library of reviews with different takes and perspectives and beautifully shot macro footage that convinces you that all of these watches are great. But on the other hand, it starts to convince you that you should own all of these watches. We've been there. We've all had those
Mhm.
phases.
Yep.
Um, it gives you all these comparisons that may not necessarily be what it looks like to you when you actually own the watch. He watched YouTube for years before starting his channel and was convinced to buy watches off of reviews that he saw. Sometimes it's true love, and sometimes you get caught up in all the footage and coverage a watch gets, but it just doesn't always add up to being what you want it to be. The first category he talks about here is the gateway watch, right? He
Mm.
talks about the YouTube darling dive watch, the Seiko SKX 007.
Yeah.
This watch really kicked off his watch collecting journey. Many have owned it and started this way. I know countless people. Their first gateway drug watch was the SKX, right? There's countless reviews on YouTube convincing us that there's this magical unicorn, the SKX, that combines the ruggedness of a sub, the charm of a vintage Seiko, and the affordability of a night out, right? You could get them for about $250. Now it's maybe a couple nights. Maybe it's a weekend in
Yeah.
Vegas or Atlantic City or something for one of those things now, which is crazy. Um, all of us have fallen for it. Once he got it though, he compared it to dating app photos, right? Well, I've been there. I used to online date. They hide a lot, right? The photos may not be, you meet the person and it's like, this photo's like 20 years old. But yeah, that's what the SKX was like for him. The weight wasn't great. It wears top heavy. He expected magic, but he just didn't get it. You can't buy love and appreciation that he'd seen on these SKX videos. You have to develop it over time. Though this watch definitely got him hooked on the hobby, it also taught him that the YouTube hype machine works very well. So yeah, what was your did first of all, did YouTube influence the Gateway watch, and what was your Gateway watch?
Yeah, look, I mean, of course, I was influenced by YouTube. Now, I had a couple of watches. I had my Panerai, I had my GP, and I was like looking to get back into watch collecting. I took a hiatus for a while there, and I kind of like started getting into YouTube, and I was like, oh, it dawned on me like in 2017, maybe I should go on YouTube and checking out some watch videos, and that's how it all started with TGV and even Federico and Archie. Although Archie was more in a luxury space is in a luxury space, and I wasn't quite there yet. So yeah, so I mean, I would have never heard of an SKX if I didn't see those videos on the SKX, right? And then and so like I would have to say like, yeah, I mean, that was probably out of all the watches, that was kind of like the gateway that got me started, because then I started watching, got into Ryan and Rob, and then like kind of like, picking up where he was like, going with his collection and kind of just mimicking that for a little while there. And then like, the SKX also became like a modding thing for me. And I think that's something that Harrison touches on
Yep,
a little bit
yep,
over here.
yep, yep.
But that's where it was. So yeah, so I mean, I would say that that's fair. That's pretty fair. The SARB 033 and the SKX were like kind of like my gateway
Yeah.
into watches there. Yeah. What about you?
Seiko came a little later. I got all into Casio. That was my
Yeah.
I remember that night. I've talked about before. I remember the night I discovered like, wow, YouTube watch videos are a thing. I
Yeah.
went down the rabbit hole. The Casio Duro is the watch I got super excited about. I got excited about like G-Shocks and other digital watches, but I remember, the Duro, the best dive watch you can buy for $40. Because the
Yeah.
thought of spending more than that was a little absurd to me
Right.
at the time. So yeah, I went in all in on the Duro. Remember watching a bunch of videos. Jody was someone I discovered, and then they just string you along to one video after another, and yeah, got all into Casio. I don't even think the SKX was like the first, second, or third Seiko I bought. I think the Save the Ocean Turtle was the
Mm,
first Seiko I ever bought, and then the Samurai.
yeah.
But yeah, I think the SKX came later. Never really cared for it. Owned the 007 and the 009. Yeah, like he said in the video, it wears a little top heavy. I just didn't love the way it wore. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've only owned a couple of them. But yeah, I mean Seiko in general, obviously. But yeah, the
Yeah.
SKX came later and didn't really have that icon status with me, I would say.
Yeah. Canadian Watch Monkey. Hey, check out the logo on Canadian Watch Monkey.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I like that.
He's done his research. He's showcased this. Even before he said that. Yeah,
Yeah,
had
that's a
a had
sweet
a
logo.
had a control group and got their feedback.
That's
Nice.
right.
Marcel, his gateway was Oris. Hey, don't no apologies. No apologies. Hey,
You
but
respect it.
when
You
when
respect it.
when you were getting gatewayed by Oris, I was in the more. I was respecting that watch brand, not so much anymore. But yeah, SKX was already on the. Okay, wait a minute. Finish that thought. Ken Spear checking in for Pittsburgh.
And
SKX was just about gone by the time I got into watches. Okay. Um, SKX is a proper, what? What made it good was its price. It was definitely. Trusting watch YouTubers is a big mistake. All right.
right.
It's true. It's true.
All right. The second category here, the influencer approved field watch. And based on his
Mm,
pictures, he talks about like a few watches. Looks like
yeah.
the Seiko Alpinist, the Hamilton Khaki Field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every creator has one, right? That they champion, it seems,
Yeah.
field watch.
Yeah.
It's legible, it's rugged, it's authentic. You hear enough about its military start and its story that you start to believe that if you don't own this watch, you can't be trusted to start a campfire or even order black coffee. It's a real man's watch, right?
Yeah.
These watches were worn in World War II by men, by real men, not us, real men. right?
Yeah.
We just don't live that kind of life anymore. He eventually did buy a Hamilton khaki field. It looked like, he didn't explicitly say it, but based on the pictures that he showed, for a while it gave him this Hemingway meets Gear Patrol energy. But after a while, his life just doesn't involve trench warfare or chopping wood. Mostly emails, dog walking, normal stuff, right? YouTube has a knack for convincing you that your lifestyle can be way more adventurous than it really is. These watches make us
Yeah.
feel like we can do anything, but more often than not, we just do mundane stuff in them. So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I like about watches. As it is a bit of cosplay. Like, I don't
Yeah.
do all these cool things, but when I wear this watch, I feel like I'm capable of it, or maybe that I can fantasize about it, and that's enough
Or,
sometimes.
or if the situation presents itself and I'm like, oh, geez, man, I'm glad I have this Hamilton khaki field on me because
Yes.
I'm in the middle of an adventure and I didn't even realize it was going to happen today.
Yeah, right. So, I
I
mean,
bought I bought a khaki field. I had one. I had one.
I had other Hamiltons. I'm trying to think of, like, yeah, I guess I did get in that phase where, like, a black field watch, makes me feel like connected to,
Yeah.
being rugged and being a real man. But those don't last. Those just don't have enough gumption for me to stick around. So
Yeah, I think it's because well, the field watch, the khaki field watch. I love the fact that it was mechanical. It's so tiny on me. It's just like,
yeah,
and I think maybe that's the point of maybe field watches, but like that you don't know that they're there, and but I don't know. I just yeah. I mean, like they didn't last too long. Look, the Vertex that I had was
that
it
was
was
awesome.
yeah, it was more substantial than than the khaki field for sure. I've been thinking about that watch a lot, like how like I would love to have just like a like an everyday timepiece, and that was it, man. That was I've been thinking about that field watch a lot. That was just more. I mean, they're expensive, but I mean that
Yeah.
was much more than field watch.
Homer just showed me a picture of his the other day. Like, oh, it looks
Oof.
so good.
Does he have like a three? Does he have the 300 or does what
I
does he
think he
have?
has a small seconds one.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna hound him. I'm gonna be like, if you ever want to sell that thing,
Yeah.
you know, I'm your man. I gotta reach
Yeah.
out to him. Okay, fair enough. Hey, let me
Yeah.
just catch up with people here.
Oh, sure, sure,
Uh,
sure.
Junior Johnson. Hey, saying hello from Michigan. Hey, Junior,
Hello?
what's going on? Canadian Watch Monkey. There are levels to this watch collecting hobby. For the longest time, I was into watch brands like Hamilton, Ora, Squale, and Longines. Then came Tudor, Omega, GS, Breitling, and Panerai. Yeah, same here. All watches are cosplay, says Wayben.
Yep.
Thanks, Junior, upvoted. Hey, Chat Vision 3D. Evening to you too.
Hello? All right. The third category he talks about when being influenced by YouTube, the vintage watch. YouTube convinced him he needed to be a vintage guy. After watching Hodinkie's Talking Watches, you start to feel like your collection is incomplete unless it smells faintly of mildew and 1970s cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
He went hunting, but the watch was a letdown. YouTube didn't tell him about the servicing nightmare, sketchy sellers, or the fact that patina usually just means unfixed water damage. He first did this with a micro rotor Hamilton. It was a cool watch, it was just way too small. Like you said, sometimes field watches are small. Vintage watches are often, 32, 34 millimeters, pretty tiny. Second time he went with a vintage watch was a Tudor Prince Oyster date. He thought it was a huge bargain, $550. He realized very quickly, though, that it was over polished. The chamfers were all rounded out. It didn't stay because he didn't do his research, right? It taught him that vintage can be magical, but also a gamble. Just because it looks amazing with soft lighting and cinematic videos does not mean it will fit properly or run well. It did teach him the value of research, and he researched 4 months before buying his vintage Speedy, which it looks like is still in his collection. You ever get the vintage itch?
I mean, look, I fantasize about like maybe getting a birth year watch. No, it's never happened. There's just too many pitfalls, with
Yep.
vintage, and you really do have to do your research. You really have to trust the seller. You know what I mean? Like find a good seller. And it's just too. I don't know. There just seems to be too much of a downside for me. That that I'll ever. Plus, like the modern watches, man, they're just so good. They're
Yeah.
just so good, right? And even the modern watches that look like they're vintage, right? They're so good too. You know what I mean? So like, why bother with the headache? I know it's maybe not a popular thought here on the chat. I know there's some vintage guys here, and I'm not knocking it. I just don't trust myself when it comes to vintage. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've owned quite a few, but I would say the one that was probably specifically influenced by YouTube was TGV and the Space View, Boulevard Accutron Space View.
Mm,
I remember watching a few videos he did on it, and I think I stumbled upon them, and yeah, I ended up buying one.
yeah,
And I think it was probably his fault that I bought one. You know how he just romanticized everything,
yeah,
and 5 years ago I was a little more impressionable when it came to that kind of
yeah.
stuff. So yep, totally. But yeah, I've owned a Pogue before. I've owned a
Mm,
vintage Oyster Quartz. Yeah, several vintage
yeah.
watches. I now have a 1940s Gruen Curvex that was gifted to me, which I
Oh,
do wear once in a while. It's pretty
yeah,
classy, but also pretty tiny watch.
yeah.
But yeah, but I would say that was probably the one that was specifically influenced by YouTube.
Uh, Trap Vision 3D. I do not trust most YouTube personalities. It's mostly entertaining, but my watch collecting style is my own. Good for you, man. KR Joy. Hey guys, good evening. Good evening to you, KR. Caliber says I have a lot of vintage, but it definitely is a minefield. Trap Vision says he served in the army, so Hamilton was inspired by other soldiers. It keeps me connected.
That's cool.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, and I think with vintage, like sometimes who cares if you don't care that it's polished, then who cares? You can get
Yeah.
a deal on it as long as you know that and it's priced accordingly. But I know a lot of people care. I feel like I would care,
Yeah, I
so
think
that's
so.
why I stay away from. I know myself. I would care. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, number 4, the affordable alternative. We have all been guilty of buying a less expensive alternative to a watch we really want. This was the Royal Oak for him,
Yep.
but he didn't like the price. He was never going to spend that kind of money on a watch. He went for the Maurice Lacroix Icon instead. He thought it got you 90% of the way to the Royal Oak for about 10% of the price. Value for money, right? It was fine, but it was just fine. Had the integrated look and all that, but every time he looked at it, he couldn't stop thinking that it wasn't the Royal Oak.
Mm,
He didn't love the icon. YouTube made him think he could scratch that itch with a watch he didn't really like. The affordable alternatives can work, but they often just remind you of what you don't have instead of what you do have. So, you ever do that? You ever?
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, um, it's escaping me. Like, I'm trying to find an example in my mind, but I just, I know I've done it. You know what I
I went
mean? So,
that way, I think, with like homages early on, like Addie's
oh yeah,
Dive, Willard. I remember I
yeah,
wasn't sure if I liked the Willard, so I was like, I'll spend the $80 on the Addie's Dive and
yeah,
maybe I'll get the real thing
yeah.
someday. I did that a couple times. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I had the Submariner and then I got rid of it and I got the Black Bay 58 back, thinking that it would be kind of like a substitute to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just, didn't feel the same after owning it once before the Submariner, and then like, going back to it, it just wasn't the same. There's some other, like, integrated bracelets, watches, like his example. I mean, like I don't fancy the Royal Oak. That's not my thing. But I like that look. And I had a PRX, and it's just like, it just wasn't like. I mean, it just didn't. It wasn't as satisfying to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To that. But yeah, I've been down the homage route. I know he's talking about, not necessarily talking about homages here, but since you brought it up, I've been that way, down that route with
Yeah.
the Squale and stuff like that. Is it like another Submariner? There's nothing like the Submariner.
Right. Right.
That's my opinion. So.
Yeah. I don't know that. Yeah. Other than homages, I can't really been fortunate enough to kind of buy the watches I want, luckily,
Mm,
or saving up and eventually buying them. But yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if I've ever gotten like a true placeholder.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that. Um, Number 5, the Fixer, the service watch. YouTube convinced him he was a watchmaker in the making, right? He watched vids where all you need are tools and a steady hand, and you too can be a watchmaker. He bought into that. He bought a vintage Lejour chronograph with plans to service it himself. He bought all the tools as well. He sat down at the bench and realized, no, this is very difficult. This is hard. Hard to recognize where all the small parts go when you disassemble them, put them back together. That's a
yeah.
nightmare. Um, Putting back together is super tough, and then you drop small little parts. I mean, gosh, I'm sure you've dropped spring bars or
Yeah.
gosh, pin and collar. I dropped a
Yeah.
pin and
Oh,
collar. I still can't find that thing. I need to get like a magnet and go under my desk to
yeah.
see if maybe that'll pick it up. Oh yeah. So I can't imagine like actually like putting a watch back together and doing that. What a disaster. Then you have to rebuy everything. Um, he sold the Lejour and it ended up being sold as a bag of parts.
Mhm.
essentially, and he did sell it to someone who I guess put it back together. That experience taught him respect for professional watchmakers,
Mhm.
the patience that's
Mhm.
needed, and also that YouTube time lapse vids make it look way easier than it actually is. Outside of like watching videos on how to change batteries and like maybe a refresher on pin and collar, I've never had the. I know that my fine motor skills are terrible. Never had the urge to get into watchmaking whatsoever. That would be just a waste of my time and money.
Yeah.
How about you?
I got into modding because of SKX. So like the furthest I did, nothing movement wise. I knew better. Um, but like maybe switch hands on the SKX, or put in a sapphire crystal, take away the hard lex or whatever it was called. Um, um, New bezel, ceramic bezel insert, replacing the aluminum bezel insert on there. So that's the extent. And look, there, man, putting hands on a watch, that sucks.
Yeah,
That sucks. That takes the that's when I knew, like, okay, this is, you know, I've never bought a watch to the extent like he did, and with the thought of like restoring it or doing it much work. Like I bought the watch to mod, meaning that I know there was a certain limit of what I could do, and I wasn't going to go into further, right? I wasn't going to go further than that, right? Um, and so I got to that limit, and I was like, no, this is way too harder. This is way
yeah,
harder, you know. So yeah, fortunately, I never went down the route that he did. But my mistakes weren't expensive. You know what I mean? It was just an SKX.
good. Yeah. I mean, I've watched Wristwatch Revival, and yeah, the
Love that.
hands look like
Yeah,
super tough to deal with.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They totally are.
Yeah.
Under you watch out there. Buying a cheap substitute is like wearing beer glasses. I know he corrected that with goggles.
Yeah.
Um, how do you guys feel about microns? Hey, look, I coming back around to them. I have to
Me
say,
too. Me too. Totally. Yep. I was talking to Keith tonight. Like,
Mhm.
definitely feel like I'm coming back around.
Coming back around to
Yep.
them, especially on the heels of wind up, going to the wind up fair. Seen a couple of brands that I was like really impressed with. I'll talk more about that tomorrow.
I'm
But
excited for that show.
yeah, yeah, I'm definitely coming around. Definitely coming around. Um, I attended a modding class at my local AD, and that was tough. Definitely gave me respect for those that do it on a regular basis. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. I mean, amazing. The final category here, the hype watch. Buying a watch that everyone loves. Every YouTube rabbit hole inevitably leads back to the Rolex Submariner, right? No matter where you start, the sub is going to
Mhm.
come up. There's a million vids out there on YouTube, both positive and negative, right? Eventually, Harrison did cave and he bought the sub, and it lived up to the hype.
Mhm.
Everything is worth what you are willing to pay, and he paid a lot for a watch that just tells the time. It's silly, but nothing in his watch box is as easy or gets as much wear as the sub. This watch is just not heritage and marketing. It's simply the aesthetic is great for everyday wear, right? It's comfortable too. The black on black is super legible. The bezel's a little shiny, gives off a little bling, but the action is phenomenal. The best out there. He compared it to like haptic feedback on a video game, like maybe your controller, or when gaming feels just right, or the sound on like a movie. It satisfies, right? The rotating the bezel on the sub is just like another worldly experience, especially for a fidget spinner like me. Like it feels so good.
Yep.
It's kind of the only diver he ever wants to wear because of the bezel action. He wear it and he felt like he could wear it in any situation. He beat it up. He talked about wearing it to work, putting stuff together, moving, all this kind of stuff. He wore it, wasn't afraid to scratch it up. And if you saw the images in the video, it has quite a bit of wear on it, which is awesome. I always love to see that. Um, he gets that with other watches too, but not all the other elements added in the same puzzle. It was a YouTube inspired purchase. He was nervous when he first saw one at his AD because it was just like so precious. He was afraid he was going to drop it, but he still kind of feels weird about wearing it so casually now. But sometimes it feels like the only watch that makes sense in his collection. And then he just kind of finishes with pursuing watches is a lot of fun. That's what the new hobby's about, like buying watches. And oftentimes, watching YouTube can inspire us, but also don't chase what other people are doing. If you don't need a Patek or an Audemars Piguet or even a Rolex Submariner to be a real collector. If you like Seiko, and just wear Seiko if that's what you want to wear. So no shame in that, and that's kind of how we end. So yeah, what
Yeah.
did you have? You was the YouTube Hype Watch a sub for you, or was it
No,
something
no,
else?
no.
Yeah,
I always wanted a sub. I go back to that story where I bought the Torno instead. I was convinced to buy the Torno chronograph before uh, I got married to my first wife years and years ago. I went to go buy a sub, and the guy convinced me to go. Anyway,
no, yeah,
so I've wanted a sub. I wanted a sub for way before I even knew what YouTube was. The sub is worth every penny. In my opinion, I've come around to that. That's my final conclusion. It is worth the hype.
yep,
It is the one watch that I could probably just be done with all other watches, and where the reason why I got rid of it, I just didn't feel comfortable wearing a $10,000 watch on my wrist. And that, and I have a family, and it's like, okay, could this money be used in somewhere else that
yeah,
benefits the whole family, right? So yeah, no,
yep.
Rolex is worth that watch is worth all the hype for me. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. It's quality wise, it's amazing, but like who said it here? Waben said it. It
Left you
ultimately, I
cold?
think it left me kind of cold. It's
Yeah.
like it's a little sterile. It's a
Yeah.
little I don't know. Like
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think the YouTube gets me hyped up for like the 5-digit models with aluminum bezels more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, after I had no problem selling it after the honeymoon and wearing it all the time, and then I was just like, you know what, I don't reach for this anymore, and I can probably land something else that I will wear a little bit more. So, ultimate like best bezel action, the bracelet's awesome. Yeah, it's so good, and if you love it, obviously, I mean, you're hard pressed to find a better watch out there in any
Yeah.
category, dive watch or any other watch for that matter. I would say the watch that maybe YouTube inspired me to the hype watch would probably be the Speedmaster. I fell into that
Mm-hmm.
trap that
Mm-hmm.
everybody needs one, even though
Mm-hmm.
I'd never really loved it.
Yeah.
And then, not surprisingly, I didn't love it when I got in person either. So I
Yeah.
think that was probably the YouTube, or maybe just like everybody says that online videos, print. You should wear every collector worth his or her salt should have a Speedmaster in the collection, and
I
I
had
just
a,
don't agree with that.
I had a different experience when I saw one for the first. So yeah, so years people saying, hey, you got to get one, you got to add one collection. It's an icon.
Yeah,
Saw them at boutiques, didn't think anything of it. I went to Colorado a couple years ago, and I met up with Rob, Mountain Standard Time, and Rob
yes,
MST, so this, and he brought his, and man, I was like, wow. I don't know, it just hit me in the right spot that night. I was just like, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous watch. I love
yeah,
it. I love it. But haven't bought one.
yeah,
Don't know if I ever will. But I was on the kick for about a year after seeing that watch. It's like I got to add one to the collection. And, things change,
yeah.
opinions change and whatnot. So Marceau says microbrands are fun, but I haven't had one that stuck around for too long. I don't know. I don't think microbrands stick around for too long. You know what I mean? Like in your collection, typically they're fun. They're fun to add if you can get in and out of them. You get in and out of them. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can see how they don't stay in the collection, but I'm definitely coming around to them, and for a whole slew of reasons. One being also that the price of like something like the Speedmaster is just going up and up and up, and it's almost going to be unattainable. So
That
I
is
had,
probably why I'm interested again too, because again, you can get in and out and doesn't hurt too much.
yeah, the
Yeah,
kids can eat rice and beans. Where the yup?
yeah,
Yeah. Are you done? So are we done with
yeah. That
Harrison?
was it. That was it. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Hey, so let's jump into mine here. This is going to be a little quick one today, I think. Watch Chris put out a video. Buy these watches before they're too late. I feel like he's done this before. The future classics that are criminally underrated. And so he starts off right off the bat with a Seiko SLQ, one of the coolest watches and it's also referred to as the Jay Leno. Why is it cool? It's got a unique design. You got four sub registers in the design and four separate dials with four separate crystals, right? Pretty cool, interesting. A little window for the date that adds to the aesthetic of the watch. It's powered by the 9T82. He says it's a Grand Seiko movement because the Grand Seiko movement starts with a 9. It's a kinetic movement, and there's a whole thing about that. Hey, I got interesting aside. I had a buddy, a friend in college, right? And his dad worked for Seiko. There is a servicing center in northern New Jersey,
Right.
and that's where he worked. His dad, he was telling me this a few years ago when my friend found out that I had a watch channel. His dad has passed a few years ago. Um, his dad had owned several patents with Seiko on the development of equipment to help service these watches. Long story short, I don't know if he was part of the team or if he worked on it, but he worked on this watch, like the development of the watch. And
Wow.
he actually, this is where it ties into Jay Leno. He sold Jay Leno the watch
That's
that Jay
so
Leno
cool.
has. And my friend's dad also had a prototype that was never released. And he showed Jay Leno the prototype, and Jay Leno was like, I want to buy that watch.
I
You
need
know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So he never did. My friend, I mean, as of let me maybe talk to him about it about 2 years ago, has one of the first thousand made and also this prototype. Doesn't know what the prototype's worth. And I tried to help him kind of try to figure out. Don't know what it's worth either.
Yeah. What would
Um,
that be worth?
don't know. I mean, nothing. I mean, I don't know if it's like maybe like a couple thousand. I would imagine, but I don't I
You
don't know.
could you could say Jay Leno once wanted to buy this very
Yeah, yeah,
watch,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I told him no, or my
yeah.
dad told him no.
Yeah, I've come
That's cool.
around on this watch. I never was really that crazy about it, but I do like it. And then there was like the new, like a newer iteration of it that kind of came out like in a year,
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
and I
Yep.
owned one of those, and those are really cool. The cool watches. Yeah, yeah. So very very cool watch. I kind of feel like this one that he's referring to is kind of already an icon in a
I
sense.
think so too. I think so
Um,
too.
but maybe a lot of people don't know about it.
It's been
Um,
discontinued for a while, so it's sort of already
yeah,
there, I think. But,
yeah. No, that's a question of finding one and what kind of
right.
condition you're gonna find it, right? Because like it's
And
been
those are kinetics. I've never really dabbled in the kinetics
yeah,
because they are, tough to serve. The capacitors
you're
go, and
right.
it's expensive and
Yeah,
difficult. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, Speaking about also like kind of odd looking strange watches, the Resonance Type 1001 or the Type 001 or the Type 0, the first Resonance has a crown, right? The original Resonance with a crown, it's a regular type watch, a lightweight aluminum discs, right? You had on there that are separated on a dial that rotate on ceramic ball bearings. It's Resonance's first watch, you know what I mean? So he thinks he said you could find one for relatively, for what it's worth, for what it is, pretty inexpensive out there. I think maybe it's like $10,000. He said you could probably find one for, but he's a big Resonance fan, and he thinks this one's going to be a future icon. IWC Engineer. He's a big fan of the IWC Engineer, designed by Gerald Genta. Now he's talking about the ones from like the early 2000s
Yeah.
and the 90s, right? Um, and uh, the older versions that came around in 2000s are a bargain. He says tons of different versions of these watches. He recommends a three-hander in stainless steel or titanium. They're ETA based. I love those watches too. They do come in different sizes, but you typically see the bigger ones are the ones that you see like on sale a lot for like the 45 millimeter ones.
Right.
Those are big watches. And there's some like cross branding with like AMG and stuff like that with some of those. But very very cool watch. I do look. I know the new ones are fairly popular. They're very well received by the watch community. Um, they look great. I would take an older one. I would take but I'm into that neoclassic
Yeah.
kind of collecting and watches. So
I
um,
think they both look awesome, but it could obviously save a few thousand easy on going with the older models, and I think
yeah,
they look good too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
There's a lot
Um,
more variety in the designs too.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, next, the Vacheron feels like it's very underrated. This is the one that's specific. He is talking about the Phidias. He believes that just in general the brand is like compared to the other Trinity brands, very very underrated. And the Phidias is a model that's very very underrated. And it was a says it was a bridge. He says it's kind of a bridge between the 222 and the modern day overseas. You got the rounded case with the integrated bracelet. You got that 80s 90 feel, and even with like a two tone. Um, version of it, you can get it for like under $10,000. He says, so it's just an interesting watch. Not necessarily for me, but very very interesting. His next pick was the Omega DeVille Hour Vision. It was a very, very important watch for Omega. He says it's a unique case design. You got a blend of sapphire case with the metal, and you had the sapphire on the side, so you could see the movement
Yeah,
from the
very
side,
cool.
not just from the bonnet, because there was also a sapphire, um, you know, um, in the back, and underneath in the case back. Um, Art Deco design. The case, okay, at the time it was the pinnacle of Omega and Omega creativity and whatnot. So that's another watch that he says you can get for a good price and should be a future classic.
I feel like
Another one,
those are going to go up. That's one of anything on here. I think like that has a pretty good chance. Like
yeah,
that's pretty. Those are cool.
yeah, definitely very very cool. Um, Urwerk, unattainable, but Urwerk the 103. He was saying Urwerk was about to go out of business until they came out with this 103, very very unique design. If you've seen that with the rotating hours and minutes and whatnot. And the interesting thing about the 103 is that they developed it in stainless steel. The stainless steel was actually, I'm sorry, it was only a prototype. They sent it out to the ADs, letting them know that, well, this is going to be in white gold and yellow gold, right? But here's the prototype because making those white gold and yellow gold, that's a lot of gold. It's very very expensive, and it saved the brand. It saved the brand. And and the 103 is also very important because it inspired the beginning of MBNF. Very very interesting watch, very divisive looking watch. I love it. I was at the um, or work booth at Watch Time on Saturday with my friends, and it was just really really cool and interesting watches.
Cool.
And then as an aside, he also says like there's a couple here that he's going to leave us with the Christopher Ward Bel Canto. It's a future classic, brought design and complications to the masses. I totally agree. This watch, it's not cheap. It's still about 3-4 grand, but to get that complication with a minute chime, and the way that it looks, and some of the newer versions of it with the you got some like guilloche models that look really really awesome. It is a really really cool watch, and it just I like what Christopher Ward is doing right here. Right, they're just not like sitting on their laurels. They're trying to actually make this brand into something by doing something like this. This is very very impressive.
Yep.
So good for them. Good for them. And he also throws in at the end there the Marlin Jet, the dial, and the design. He likes the bold design of the watch for a couple $100. It's a pretty good buy. Um, what do you think? Anything stood out there besides the Omega Deville that you think are going to be like future classics?
Yeah, the list wasn't like super inspiring to me, but yeah, that Omega for sure.
Hmm.
I think the Bel Canto will definitely be a future
Yeah,
classic. Are
I
they
agree.
making too many of them? Do you think for it, or do you think they should slow down on that, or keep making them? Do you
I
think
don't
that
know.
hurts the
I don't.
future classicness?
I don't know if I don't think it hurts them. I don't think I mean, like do they have they may have like a couple that are limited. I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm. But anyway, like
I think
if
the watch itself and like what it means for the brand, no matter what they do with it, I think
yeah.
is like that it in itself will make it a future classic for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like, they make a ton of um Royal Oaks, right?
Right. It's still a yeah,
It's so classic.
yeah,
But yeah, no, no, I think no, I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. The Belcanto is definitely a future classic. I think you like the Omega a little bit more than I do. The Urwork is obviously a classic in a sense, but I mean, like the fact that it's at such a high price point and not too many people can get their hands on it. I don't know, but it's definitely definitely a classic. The Engineer, I don't know. I mean, like, I mean, like, there's so many of them, right? I mean, like, I
Right.
know, I know, I kind of like, went against you on that. I pushed it back on you with the bel canto, with the fact that they make it too much. But I feel like the Engineer is just like, okay. I mean, it's a great watch. I just don't know if it's going to be, it's necessarily a future classic. You know,
Yeah. It probably has to
because
go away again,
yeah.
um, for it to be, I think. But
Well, I mean, like, I don't think that one. Well, so there's definitely a heavy Genta feel to those older ones. The newer
yes.
ones, I don't get that vibe. I just, okay, it feels like it's a derivative of a Genta design. It doesn't feel like a Genta design.
They
Um,
wear so great though. I tried on a new
yeah,
one.
sure
Oh
they do.
mama, they wear
Yeah,
awesome. Like I
yeah,
really want one of those.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then what were some of the other ones here?
Well, that's Seiko for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
That Vacheron, that didn't appeal to me either.
yeah.
I don't know enough. I think with Omega, like the new ones are just going to outer space price wise. So I think people are going to go back if they want an Omega on their wrist, they're going to go back and look at some of these cool
Hmm.
watches that are still attainable.
Yeah,
And I think like watches like this that are sort of hidden gems, if you're looking for something a little bonkos, these might catch fire. Like and some other neo vintage stuff from them too. So because I mean, yeah, like we said, the pricing of the new stuff is just to the moon. So
yeah.
but, yeah.
Wibben, he tried a Resonance last weekend. He wants one.
Oh, yeah, they're cool.
Joey B loves the Hour Vision watches.
Yeah.
Rock star Erin Fletcher, rock queen. Good evening. Hi, Bobby Legs.
Hello.
I'm from Fairhaven, Massachusetts. Question. I'm from Fairhaven, Massachusetts. Okay. All right. Bought a sub as my first luxury watch, says Thomas, in 2010. Got made redundant in 2011. When I bought my Panerai, which I wore as my main watch for about 8 years.
Wow.
You're totally bored with the sub and traded it for Brigade Classic, and I haven't looked. Hey, look,
Yeah.
and that's the great thing about the sub. You get bored of it, you can. It's a great trade. You get great trade value for it, and you can get
Yeah.
something like that Brigade Classic, which is definitely a good move there. I totally sanctioned that move. Um, Canadian Watch Monkey, the Bel Canto, and the CW are great, but sorry, I just can't spend 3+ brand on a brand without a long history. Well, I mean, I mean, I don't know
I
if,
think it's cool that they're building their history.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
sometimes you have to
good
allow for
point.
that. Like,
Yeah,
they're trying. It's not their fault they just came out. I mean, they're trying to
yeah,
establish a legacy. So, um, I understand that, but do you wanna be a part of building a legacy? Like, are you willing to spend that much money to help them get to the next level, like, be a
yeah,
part of that, like, get in on the ground level, kind
yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah.
You
No,
like,
that's a good way to look at it.
they
Yep.
just released a watch today, like, the Loco with Worn and Wound, like, a
Yeah,
100-piece limit, it's like $5,200 or something,
yeah,
it's like, ooh.
yeah,
Again, the price is when you're used to seeing CWs for 1,000 bucks and under, it's like that price is a little, but I mean, it is cool what they're doing, they're going up, so.
Question, Bobby
Oh,
Legs.
here we
What is
go.
your favorite song from SpongeBob SquarePants, and what would it be now? Um, I my kids never really gone to SpongeBob.
I just know the Under the Sea, the
Yeah,
theme, I guess.
the theme song. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, Rockstar Aaron Fletcher. I can't answer that question. Sorry.
What's your
If I
favorite
had
Ace
a, if I
Presley song?
look, if I ever get into SpongeBob and I find a song that I really latch onto, I'm coming right, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I can't buy into the Speedmaster. I have no interest in it, whether it went to the moon, probably because Omega rammed that down our throats too much. I'm much happier with my El Primero. Okay.
Yep,
My Grail watch was just
same.
achieved Omega 1957 Speedmaster Trilogy. It is perfect. No, but it has cool spades. The cool in spades. It's cool. Has cool in spades. Okay. Uh, Resonance is cool for a while, then becomes annoying to set. Yes, Clayton, you're right.
Yeah,
You've said that. I recall. I think you've mentioned that. I'm hearing you mention that years ago, especially with the oil fill models, or somebody that we know had an issue with that. Um, but the first one had the crown, right? So like, maybe it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
I'm not I am not that learned on Resonance, but it's cool. It's cool.
There was
It's
a
cool.
guy in a group I'm in who was selling, I think one of the like super limited versions for like 20K, and it was like a bargain. And
Yeah.
yeah, I was thinking after he like showed a bunch of pictures of it and stuff, I was like, yeah, how fun would that be to set after a while? Like the novelty of
Mhm.
all of it would be obviously during the honeymoon phase would be cool, but yeah, after a while you actually have to live with these watches. Like,
Yeah.
how annoying is it?
Yeah. Yeah. I get you strike me as a guy who would get a Resonance. I mean, with
Yeah, well,
your eclectic taste.
if money, yeah. Oh
Price
yeah, yeah,
aside,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Right, yeah. I mean, totally. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
I want an oil-filled watch. That
I
was
damn
another
it.
mod I thought
I
about
would,
doing on the Duro. Yeah,
yeah. You,
I'd make a
I've
mess.
seen is that wait, have I is that right? Have I seen people do that?
Yeah, I've watched videos on
Okay.
it. Oil filling a Casio Duro. Yeah, I
Wow.
think our friend Craig did it
Did he
himself.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, the oil fill. That's right. That's right.
yeah.
Um,
But that Zin quartz oil fill
yeah,
watch, that would probably be the one I'd ultimately go for.
yeah.
That's
I
cool.
don't know. Like I've never said to myself, man, I could go for an oil fill watch. It's never occurred to me, you
Well,
know.
you own enough watches, you get bored. It's like, let's get an
It's
oil fill watch. F it.
that's like they made so much of that that corn fructose syrup that they have it like in batteries because they just made
Right?
so much of it. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
just like
Yeah.
that's so many watches. Why not get some? All
Yeah.
right, recipes are fun, but I get something else for for the money. Hey man, we made it. We made it
Yeah, we did it.
again,
Yes.
and we stuck the landing, and we are the champions. I
Yes,
don't know
we
because
are, my friend.
the Rock Queen is in my head, so now I
Yeah.
know Queen songs.
Ace
Anyway,
Frehley passed away. Another rough week for us hard
I
rock
know,
people.
man.
Man.
I
Yeah.
mean, what now? He was my favorite member of Kiss, and yeah, just seemed like a really nice guy. Had his problems with drugs and alcohol, but who
Great
had
laugh. Great
who
laugh.
hasn't? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Um, hey man,
Yeah.
so what do you got up to today? What are you doing this weekend? Anything? You just
What am I doing this week? I'm running another race on Saturday, Sunday. Yep, doing a
would you
half.
stop? Would you stop running races,
I know
man?
it's yeah, I have two more coming. I have back to back
And I have a feeling like you
weekends.
run all day with the dogs too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you're
I
just like
know. I keep committing to the pacing gigs, but they're free for me, and I get all the swag, and I get to pace. So
I just worry
I
about
was
like
paying for
you.
all these, but
I just worry about you like wearing out your body, like like your
oh yeah,
knees,
I think
like
we're well past that point.
it's
Muscle
just-
memory and
oh man.
yeah,
All
muscle
right.
memory and Gatorade at this point, I guess.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's whatever
you
makes
know
you
what?
happy.
Yeah. I guess I'd rather have my D's get shot from activity versus inactivity. So
Yeah,
let's break it. Let's break them.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, man. Anyway, look, hey, chat, stick around for tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be back
Oh, I
on
can't wait.
again. Going to be reviewing Watch Time and Wind Up with Dib and Mr. Finney. They're going to give us our picks, their picks for the top watches that they saw over the weekend. I'm going to have a little slideshow for you guys, and yeah, looking forward to their thoughts on that. And yeah, have a great night, guys, and we'll see you next week with another episode of Watch Talk.
Thank you. Thanks,
Take care.
guys.
See
Thank
ya.
you.